country where bull sharks live in freshwater lakes, you can go volcano boarding down a breathing volcano, festivals last 80 days, people don't use street names, mountain women test marry for a year, hundreds of couples get married at once and then compete for the longest kiss. And a citizen can lose their nationality just by holding another passport. This is Nicaragua. Are you ready to discover the 15 most taboo and bizarre things in this unpredictable country? Number 15. A nation under surveillance. In Nicaragua, music still blares from old speakers along the streets of Granada. The Gigantona dance troupes still perform joyfully at every festival, and people still set off fireworks all night during La Purísima to celebrate faith and tradition. But there's something else simmering beneath the surface. No fanfare, no spotlights, the sense that you're always being watched, not just by the government, but by the outside world too. Since the major protests in 2018, it feels like Nicaragua has entered a new era, the era of caution. More than 300 people were seriously affected, thousands were arrested, and countless social organizations were shut down. Groups like the United Nations, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International have placed Nicaragua on their special watch lists. Why? Because thousands of NGOs, ranging from education and healthcare to religious groups, lost their right to operate in a very short time. Even the Catholic Church, a spiritual anchor for generations, hasn't escaped this control. One bishop was sentenced to over 2 decades in prison, then quietly sent to the U.S. In Leon's coffee shops, people chat loudly about soccer and the weather, but the mood drops instantly if politics comes up. Nicaragua is beautiful, that's for sure. But is it still the beauty of freedom? What do you think about a country where the national flag itself can be a sensitive symbol? Leave your thoughts below, because sometimes these small conversations are the only way to keep the truth alive. Number 14. Dual citizenship is banned in Nicaragua. Have you ever thought that one day, just by holding a new passport, you could be erased from your homeland? In Nicaragua, this isn't just a hypothetical, it's the law. In May 2025, Nicaragua's National Assembly quietly passed a shocking constitutional amendment. Starting in 2026, any citizen who acquires another nationality will immediately lose their Nicaraguan citizenship. No trial, no warning, no chance to appeal. Behind that U.S. passport lies a heavy price: losing property rights in Nicaragua, losing the ability to return as a citizen, and for many, losing your original identity. By the end of 2024, according to human rights groups, at least 317 Nicaraguans had been stripped of their citizenship, mostly those with views opposing the government, including journalists, clergy, and lawyers. The strange thing? Nicaragua isn't the only country with emigration. But while countries like Mexico, El Salvador, or even Cuba still allow dual citizenship, Nicaragua has chosen a lonely path. You're either all in or gone for good. What does this mean for you as an American? If you ever dreamed of retiring by a Nicaraguan lake or holding dual citizenship, you'll need to think twice. Here, 1 foot in 2 worlds just isn't an option. Number 13. People communicate without sound. Can you believe there's a place where people can talk to each other clearly without saying a single word? In Nicaragua's remote Caribbean region, where jungles weave between rivers and red dirt roads, the mosquito people have kept a unique form of communication: whistled speech. Here, if you're standing by the river and hear a whistle echoing from across the forest, don't assume someone's just whistling a tune. It could be a real conversation. Each melody, each rise and fall carries a specific meaning. A man paddling his canoe might tell his wife in the garden a few hundred yards away, "I'll be late for lunch, the river is high." She'll reply with a short series of whistles. No need to see each other, no cell phone required. Kids here learn to understand this silent language from a young age, just as city kids learn to spell. Today, even though smartphones have reached coastal villages, many mosquitoes still whistle while working in the fields or fishing. For them, it's more than a language, it's identity. Number 12. Trial marriages. lasting 1 year. Would you dare to get married knowing you could call it off? After exactly 12 months, no paperwork, no court, no stigma of divorce? In some indigenous communities in the northern mountains of Nicaragua, especially in small villages in Matagalpa or Jinotega, a unique marriage tradition called the trial wedding exists. This isn't a joke. It's a real ceremony, recognized by both families and the community, but with no legal strings attached. According to tradition, a couple in love asks both families' permission to live together as husband and wife for 1 year, called the trial year. During that time, they share a home, work together, even join village festivals as an unofficial couple. But if, after 12 months, they feel incompatible or have irreconcilable differences, they can break up and return to single life. No judgment, no divorce process, no label of failure. For urban Nicaraguans or those influenced by Catholicism, this trial marriage might be controversial. But for mountain people, where life is more practical than formal, is seen as a way to avoid regret, and maybe even a smarter way to marry. Number 11. Nicaraguan. Women learn to swim to reach the U.S. In Esteli, northern Nicaragua, a public pool turns into an unofficial survival class in the afternoons. No professional coach, no posted schedule, no laughter. Most of the women, single moms, unemployed, or working for barely enough to live, learn how to float, how not to panic in a strong current, and how to breathe if swept away. The goal isn't to compete, it's to cross the Rio Grande. Darling Molina, 29, puts it simply, "I'm learning to swim because I'm heading to the U.S. If I can't keep myself afloat, I might never make it to shore." The Rio Grande is one of the most notorious obstacles on the Central American migration route to the U.S. border. The water is fast, the temperature unpredictable, and there are constant warnings about water snakes, crocodiles, and whirlpools. No life jackets, no rescue ropes. Everyone's on their own. A trip like this costs between $5,000 and $14,000, money usually raised by selling homes, pawning valuables, or taking out high-interest loans. Middlemen claim the route is safe, but in reality, many never make it, left behind on the riverbank, with no grave, just the silent water carrying away their dreams. Still, Nicaraguans keep heading north. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, in just over a year, nearly 112,000 Nicaraguans were apprehended at the border. They crossed deserts, jungles, harsh terrain, and nameless rifts. Not because of war, but because there's no way back. Number 10. A city rebuilt multiple times. Not once, but 3 times in less than a century, this city was wiped off the map by earthquakes and had to be rebuilt from rubble. If you visit Managua today and wonder why the capital has no clear downtown like other big cities, it's because it used to, and lost it forever on Christmas Eve, 1972. That 6.2 magnitude quake destroyed over 70% of the city, deeply affecting 2/3 of the population and wiping out the historic colonial center. But 1972 was just the climax. In 1931, Managua was flattened by another quake, leaving thousands homeless. In 1885, a tremor from a fault under Lake Zolotlan shook the city again. And even today, that threat still lurks below. Still, Managua hasn't stood still. In the past 2 decades, the government has invested in new landmarks. Plaza de la Revolución, home to the National Theater, the Cultural Palace, and the main political square. The Malecon waterfront along Lake Zolotlan, where people stroll, gather, and watch the sunset. Many modern buildings use earthquake-resistant designs, reflecting a determination to rebuild, but this time with more caution. Managua today is both modern and wary, living with the mindset. Build to avoid collapse, not just to reach for the sky. Number 9. Record-breaking mass weddings, 783 couples. In Managua, February 14 isn't just a day for love, it's the day thousands declare their vows together. The event, called Boda Masiva, Mass Wedding, is organized every year by Radio Sandino and has become one of Central America's most unique traditions. Not in a church, not in a fancy hall, but in a huge public square, on an outdoor stage, with lively music and live TV coverage. In a record year, over 1,000 couples got married at once, and the average each year is still between 500 and 800 couples. Some are young people who couldn't afford a wedding. Some have lived together for 10 or 20 years with kids and grandkids, but never officially married. And some are elderly, grandparents nearly 70, holding hands on stage like first-time lovers. The highlight is the longest kiss contest. After the vows, couples step to the center stage and kiss as the crowd cheers. Every second is a fun but emotional competition. Some couples kiss for over 5 minutes to win a prize. Would you dare if your kiss was broadcast live on national TV? Number 8. Nicaragua. Hosts the longest festival in Latin America. From mid-September to early December, Masaya barely sleeps. Cobblestone streets light up with color, sound, and emotion. Locals don't just celebrate the festival, they live it with almost religious passion. San Jeronimo starts as a Catholic tradition honoring the patron saint of wisdom, Saint Jerome. For 80 days, you'll see men in devil masks dancing in the square, girls in hand-embroidered dresses with hundreds of colorful stitches, street vendors singing while spinning candy, and old folks nodding to the beat at their windows. For foreign visitors, Masaya during this time feels like stepping into a living cultural movie. You can join parades, learn folk dances right on the street, paint wooden masks with local artists, or help cook traditional dishes like Indio Viejo on the sidewalk. There's no line between audience and performer. Everyone's part of the festival, no matter where you're from. One day, people dress up as Los Diablitos, little papier-mâché devils, and run around teasing passersby, a symbolic ritual to chase away bad luck and welcome new beginnings. Right after, church hymns ring out, as if the whole city is swaying between two worlds. Number 7. Bull sharks live in freshwater lakes. Ever heard of a freshwater lake with bull sharks? In Nicaragua, this seemingly impossible thing is real. Lake Nicaragua is the largest freshwater lake in Central America, over 8,200 square kilometers, 5 times bigger than Lake Geneva in Switzerland. But what makes it famous isn't its size, but the mysterious presence of bull sharks, a species known for saltwater. Yet here, they live entirely in fresh water. Scientists have known about this since the early 20th century, when sharks were found deep inland. After years of study, they discovered bull sharks swim up from the Caribbean Sea via the San Juan River, fighting upstream through rapids to settle in the lake. They can adjust their body's salt levels, letting them live in both salt and fresh water, a very rare trait for sharks. Though not as numerous as other native species, bull sharks in Lake Nicaragua have caused some notable incidents in the past. From the 1940s to the 1970s, there were occasional attacks in deep water near Isla Zapatera and the eastern shore. Today, Nicaraguan authorities and environmental groups closely monitor these sharks. Some international universities even send students to study their migration and adaptation, since Lake Nicaragua is one of the world's few places where sharks have naturally gone freshwater. Number 6. Newspapers are banned. On the old streets of Leon, you won't see newsstands or street vendors shouting out the morning headlines. For many visitors, it's hard to understand. How can a country of over 6 million people not have independent newspapers? But the story behind it reflects a much deeper reality. Over the past decade, Nicaragua's media has gradually gone silent. La Prensa, the country's oldest daily and once a symbol of national journalism, was forced to stop printing and move operations abroad in 2021. Its headquarters were sealed, equipment confiscated, key journalists summoned, banned from leaving the country, or forced to resign for their own safety. Not just La Prensa, many other news outlets face the same fate. Some shut down, some restricted inside Nicaragua. Others survive only by going underground or sharing news via encrypted platforms. Yet amazingly, even without a physical newspaper, the voice of truth hasn't been completely silenced. From exiled journalists in Costa Rica, Spain, or the US, to small communities inside Nicaragua sharing news via Telegram, WhatsApp, and VPNs, a hidden media ecosystem still operates, quietly but stubbornly. Number 5. Drones and binoculars are banned in Nicaragua. If you love nature, birdwatching, or just want to view volcanoes from afar with binoculars, you should pause before packing your bags. In Nicaragua, not only are drones strictly banned, but even binoculars are considered sensitive items. It sounds like a joke, but it's a real rule at border crossings and airports. Travelers have reported that binoculars, drones, and even long camera lenses can be confiscated if deemed for unwanted observation. Even more surprising, at certain sensitive times of year, authorities may extend the ban to regular cameras. Some tourists have said that during their visit, airport security temporarily seized all recording equipment, no exceptions. There's no official list of banned items, so every trip to Nicaragua can feel like a guessing game. Seemingly harmless things, like a small pair of bird-watching binoculars, can cause big problems if they happen to be on the banned list at that time. Advice: if you're unsure, leave anything that could be misunderstood at home. And before you go, check the latest entry rules, because in Nicaragua, things can change overnight. Number 4. Volcano boarding is allowed. Not on snow, not on artificial slopes, but on thick black volcanic ash, under blazing sun over 100 degrees and winds strong enough to knock off your helmet. This volcano is about 2,300 feet high, has erupted more than 20 times since the 19th century, and is still active today. Volcano boarding here means hiking almost an hour up dark ash, carrying a simple but crucial wooden board, then at the top, sitting down and sliding at speeds up to 35 mph. The feeling isn't just thrilling, it's a bit terrifying, like flying over a volcano's mouth, a true adrenaline rush not for the faint of heart. Even with protective gear, gloves, and helmets, plenty of people come back with bruised hands, but that's the reward for a real adventure. Tourists from the US, Canada, and Europe flock to Leon just to try surfing a volcano once. Tours cost about $35–$45, including transport, board, safety gear, and a guide. Many people strap a GoPro to their helmet to capture the wild ride. Lots of these videos have gone viral on YouTube and TikTok. One American visitor said, "I felt like I was flying into a volcano's mouth, but in the best way." A bizarre extreme sport only in Nicaragua. Would you try it? Share your thoughts below. Number 3. Pointing with your finger is taboo. It sounds like a joke, but it's a very serious, unspoken rule in this Central American country. In Nicaraguan culture, pointing with your index finger is considered rude, even disrespectful, especially when pointing at someone. Instead, people use a unique method, pursing their lips and jerking their chin in the direction they mean. Asking for directions? Don't be surprised if locals don't speak but just pucker their lips and nod their head. A kind of facial GPS that leaves first-time visitors wondering if they're being blown a kiss or teased. But that's not all. To refuse an offer, like a taxi driver insisting, a street vendor promoting, or a child offering candy, Nicaraguans just wag their index finger side to side, as if shooing a fly. No words, no smile. Just a small gesture. And the message is clear. I'm not interested. So if you're planning to visit Nicaragua, remember, don't point with your finger. Point with your lips and say no with a finger wag. Number 2. Streets don't have names. In Nicaragua, finding an address isn't as simple as typing a number and street name into Google Maps. In fact, most streets here don't have official names. Instead, locals use a completely unique and almost poetic navigation system. You'll hear directions like 100 meters north of San Juan Church, turn left at the Blue Cafe, the third house with the red wooden door. This method relies on landmarks, churches, schools, old restaurants, even where the mango tree used to stand. Locals are used to this and see it as natural. But for visitors or foreigners, it can be a real challenge, especially when the landmark mentioned no longer exists. It's common to be told someone's house is 2 blocks from the old gas station, even if that station was demolished 10 years ago. Google Maps won't help much, and the most common advice you'll get is, just ask people along the way. Number 1. Nicaragua. Once had an American president. Think having an American president in a foreign country only happens in movies? Look at Nicaragua, where it really happened over 160 years ago. In the mid-19th century, when Central America was full of conflict and armed struggles, William Walker, an American officer, led a group of mercenaries from the U.S. into Nicaragua, claiming to support a local political faction. But within months, he didn't just fight. He declared himself president of Nicaragua in 1856. He formed a new government, made English the official language, restored slavery, and called for Americans to settle and create a southern U.S. version of Nicaragua. It was such a bold plan that neighboring countries fiercely opposed it. Not long after, Walker was overthrown by a regional alliance and eventually captured. But the mark of an American once sitting as Nicaragua's president remains one of the most controversial events in the region's history. But Nicaragua also made a historic step in the opposite direction. In 1990, after civil war, the country held democratic elections. The winner was a woman, Violeta Barrios Torres de Chamorro, a journalist and, more importantly, the first female president of Nicaragua and all of the Americas. She led the country for 7 years, from 1990 to 1997, guiding Nicaragua out of violence and into a relatively peaceful era. People call it the time of peace, and to this day, she remains the only woman ever to serve as Nicaragua's head of state. Nicaragua, a small country in Central America, but full of strange taboos and surprises that amaze everyone. If you found these facts interesting, don't forget to comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel to discover more weird and wonderful stories from around the world.